Evening summer breeze, sweet warbling of the meadowlark, moonlight in Vermont. Take that moonlight in Vermont.
Thank you very much for downloading this featured content podcast. Have we got an amazing story to tell you today? This is episode 1 of what I am sure will become a life story that we'd all like to emulate and understand and feel a little bit more of a part of. In the studio with me today, I have someone that you know as Barry Lee Martin. If you have seen Barry out and about on the streets of Solihull, central Solihull, singing in the style of Frank, Mel Torme, Matt Monro, Michael Bublé, those sort of what we know as crooners, but we'll be talking a little bit about that later. But I'm going to start with episode 1 by welcoming Barry. Barry, welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Jeff. It's wonderful being here.
Thank you for coming in. Let's start because I've read a little bit and I've spoken to some people and some friends of yours, and I know that your life. And I'm sure that you won't mind me saying, an octogenarian now, but your life has taken some turns, had some journeys. You've met some people on the way that I want to hear about.
Fantastic.
And I want to understand the sort of how your singing career has morphed along over the decades. So let's begin at the beginning, if you would, please, Barry.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what your folks, your birthplace. Where did you grow up?
I grew up actually in Birmingham, in Handsworth, coming from London, and really I don't remember quite when I started to sing.
Tell us a little bit about your upbringing, where you started from, and
that's really where the singing started.
Yeah.
Because I'm Jewish and I joined a synagogue.
Yeah.
And there was a choir in the synagogue. For some unknown reason, somebody thought I had a voice that might fit in. Big mistake. Big mistake. I was always smiling or laughing, and so occasionally I was asked to leave because I was disrupting the choir.
Right.
But yeah, nothing's changed.
Right.
You can ask my local teacher, Anya. She'll agree with that.
Okay, right. So you started singing in your synagogue, and you took some experience, and you were watching other people, and then suddenly, around about what sort of year was this, Barry?
This is when I was 10.
10. So
and onwards, really, because I carried on singing with various different choirs.
Yeah.
Obviously, as I was growing up within the local community, so I played a lot of football, cricket, table tennis, bit of boxing, and so on and so forth. So it all carried on to amateur dramatics, various different parts, particularly fiddler was very popular for me, which I did later in life as well.
Wow.
And so the singing carried on. And one of the earliest memories I can think of even, I was just thinking of a talent show that was held at the Hippodrome. Carol Levis, it was called.
Right.
And I even remember the song. It was called Call Me Mr. Blue.
Right.
And it went down very well. I didn't win. A little chap about 12 who told a dirty joke won it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. It was bad even then, you see.
That's right. It was all changed, wasn't it? All changed. So let's go back one step. You were born in London.
Yes, Coburn Road, Bow.
Coburn Road, Bow. So you're effectively a Cockney through and through. And you. What age did you move up to Birmingham?
When I was 2.
2.
Mm-hmm. And moved actually to Kidderminster first.
Okay.
Because we were evacuated.
Right.
And
Second World War.
And family members were already in this lovely little close opposite an orchard. I had a wonderful start, really, to my life, being moved away from London. There was no bombing. We did have one occasion where some German bomber let off a spare bomb they had left on a sandbank.
Right.
But otherwise, lovely small Jewish community, which I attended, and then we moved back to Birmingham.
Into Handsworth?
Into Handsworth, yes.
Right. Went to school where?
I went to school, it's called the Hebrew School in St. Luke's Road.
Okay.
Again, a lot of fun, and I became head boy.
Nice.
Well, Dad bribed somebody, I'm sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because nothing has changed as far as the behaviour was concerned.
Right.
But seemed to get on with most people.
Excellent. And so as you were moving in,
Yes.
let's go back to where we were. We were 10 years old, you were singing in the choir, and suddenly you were influenced by the singers that were around you at the time.
Yes.
So who were you listening to personally?
I wasn't listening to much on the radio, but and this actually is, I believe, has got a lot to do with the way I sing even today, and the way that I pronounce certain words and how you move commas around and phrases to what you're doing, because I'm very lucky I'm out there busking outside Touchwood. So I don't have to look at a piece of music to sing. I just go along how I feel. And when you're listening to a world famous cantor, that's the gentleman who is brought up and taught how to sing from a very, very early age in a very religious setting. And he's not a rabbi. Some are, but most aren't. And they have a most amazing ranges, very much on the Pavarotti style.
Wow.
And you belong to the main choir at Singers Hill, which is still there. Beautiful synagogue, by the way. It is really a glorious place. And it visited and toured by many people. And you're in the choir stalls above, listening to this amazing voice. So there's a lot of influence from singing. You want to belong to that.
That's right. You're immersed in this, aren't you?
That's a wonderful word.
In some ways, you kind of take it up by osmosis, by it coming into your body, and you're not very sort of conscious of that, but it's around you all the time.
That's a wonderful way to put it. I believe that's exactly what happened.
Okay, so you've been influenced almost on a subconscious level, and you're going through all of these different things. You're finishing up at school.
Yes.
Now, this is post-war.
Yes.
So what were you expected to do in terms of your career and in terms of your job role?
That's a wonderful story, really, because I left school on Friday.
Yeah.
And my dad took me into Corporation Street and around Birmingham City Centre, 9 o'clock Monday, or even 8:30 Monday morning.
Yeah.
Took my hand and we went round to every individual to shop to find out whether there was a vacancy for me at 15.
Okay, so you were in the world of retail.
Yes, that's
right.
Where I was there at 15, but I actually did take the exam for a grammar school.
Right.
But money was very, very tight, and my dad wouldn't let me go. I'm sorry, no tears, please.
No. But you from where
So I carried on till the end of my normal schooling at 15, and my dad went into a shop. The shop is still there, and it's in Corporation Street, and you'll recognize it very, very easily. It has a very, very large clock over the shop, and it's still there to this day. The shop was called Fred Burns, and this particular branch only did suits made to measure.
Right, so tailoring.
Tailoring, and I was put to, every morning I had to go downstairs in the basement and clean and roll hundreds and hundreds of blocks of cloth.
Wow. For a bespoke tailor?
For a bespoke tailor. Now, there were 5 or 6 other gentlemen working there. I think my wages were £2, 2 and 6. And on the Saturday, each day we used to have a cake from Kunzel's. You won't know these names.
No.
Next door. Most beautiful, beautiful cake shop.
Wow.
But expensive.
Yeah.
But on Saturday were 3 extras. So there were about 8 people working there. And that's the day they chose for me to pay for the cakes. So most of my money
went on the cake.
Sorry,
bed.
Dad.
Yeah.
It's a true story.
Oh,
most
wow.
of it went on the cakes. But it was rather wonderful. But one day, Mr. Burns, who was the manager, and I were the only ones left in the shop at lunchtime. and he got busy. So he asked me to talk to the gentleman that just come in the shop, and each bolt of cloth was priced with a code, which we all knew, including myself. And I went up and spoke to the gentleman and sold him a suit. So they never put me downstairs again.
That's right. You're on the sales floor.
I was on the sales floor.
Wow.
Mr. Burns said to me, Barry, he says, we're 2 guineas out with that one, but we'll get it back on the next one.
Nice. Great work. So, and how long did you work for Mr. Burns?
I worked in there for about 6 or 8 months when a friend of my father, who had a gents outfitter shop selling not only suits but shirts and ties down in Her Street, just above where my dad's shop was, asked me to come and work for him for more money. It sounded a good idea.
There you go, and you've walked. Okay, well, so you've moved on into your second role. You're still in retail. You're still in fashion.
Yes.
Did you have any particular ambition to? Excuse me. What did your father sell?
My father sold delicatessen.
Okay, right. So, did you have any sort of burning ambition to stay in the world of retail and sort of work your way up into owning your own shop, maybe?
No, nothing like that. It was all down to money.
Okay.
And that seemed to rule it. I don't even remember singing at all at that time, or quite where the singing came back into my life until I was about 20.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't remember doing much before that.
So you had 5 years, effectively, from leaving school into just being sort of a job of work, isn't it?
Yeah.
Going up, selling suits,
Playing
selling
football,
shit, and just enjoying
cricket.
yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So 20 came along, and you had a re-emergence or a renaissance back into the singing, your singing talents. So what happened?
We had a very, very thriving Jewish community, both not only in Birmingham but Coventry as well. And we used to put on a lot of amateur dramatic shows of various different types, but generally including something in the Jewish fashion. And so I was amongst, I would say, about 7 or 8 guys who used to go around together, sort of doing the clubs, playing football and cricket, all part of the same team, really. So we all used to, when they grabbed one of us, they grabbed us all. Okay,
so you had a group of friends that you hung out with. And and is this where your reference to fiddler comes in and things like that? So you're taking some of those incredibly Jewish musical theatre pieces and you're performing these locally?
Yes. Generally at one of the major synagogues, apart from Singers Hill, was in Persia Road. And, first of all, Bristol Street, then Persia Road. And they had a lovely ballroom theatre, and that's where we performed.
Wow.
And they're very, very successful.
And you're taking your singing skill, you're acting in terms of amateur dramatics, and then you develop that, and you obviously get a buzz, and you get some energy back from performance. So tell me what happened next.
I don't know, because you mentioned this wonderful word skill. I didn't know I had anything like that then.
I believe it to be a skill, and you've developed it, and people that put the practice in and put the research in and do that becomes a skill. But some people say you have a talent. So you are born with a talent.
Yes.
But to make it your talent, something that you can use, I think you develop that into your skills.
Thank you.
So what happened after the amateur dramatics for you to suddenly go, I know what I'm going to do, I'm going to sing?
It happened quite a few years later, actually. And I've been very, very lucky. My voice has never broken. It's got deeper. I hope it's got a lot better in the feel that you can put into a song.
The warmth.
Yes,
your tone is very warm.
Thank you.
But where did it... So you've got that, and where did it go?
Well, I only have one major thought in mind. I started to sing individually and for whatever. Weddings and bar mitzvahs, etc. etc. But I still didn't feel that there was anything big there. I just enjoyed singing, and people seemed to enjoy my singing. And I went to a lovely nightclub called the Bella Pay, which was in Warsaw Wood. And I went to and did an audition. The band leader, there was 5 pieces in this band, seemed to like my voice, so he took me on. And that was really when I really started to take notice that there could be something else here. There were he used to have 2 sittings, and I found that I got on very well with the band. And in fact, actually, the keyboard player used to play me about a lot. We'd start singing one song, and halfway through, we swap onto another song.
Yeah.
There's 200 or 300 people dining and dancing there. I got used to that. So that was another thing that I was being introduced to, as to how bands work. It's a lot of camaraderie. And later on, you'll hear about other bands and how somehow the minute you meet these guys, you're in.
Yeah.
And the important thing for a singer is that they play for you. So they have all the skill that makes my voice sound okay. And if they don't play for you, you're in trouble.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
And there is a synergy, isn't there? There's that
Yes.
the development of working with quality musicians to put on that style and that quality of performance.
I revere them, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm jealous of them, actually. It's wonderful.
In my circle, I get to work with some amazing musicians.
Sure.
And have you ever noticed when you are performing with musicians that have high skill levels, your level is drawn up?
Absolutely.
And it just flies, doesn't it?
They inject something into you.
Yeah, I agree.
That all of a sudden, quite naturally, you're singing somehow just climbs.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I've seen that in performance.
It's quite amazing.
And suddenly you get to that note or you get to a phrase and you think to yourself, where did that come from?
That's actually been said to me, and
yeah.
And I say, well, I don't know. It just there. It was there, and perhaps we'll come to it a little bit later. But I remember being introduced to this 5-piece band, and this was abroad as well. So, in Malta, and so I'm singing my first night. I was there actually for 4 weeks, and I'm singing this song. I hear babies cry. And the keyboard player is mimicking a baby.
Wow.
I can hear this baby crying at the back. All of a sudden, this brings extra smiles into your voice. It comes out in the way you record.
Yeah.
You know how loose a singer is. Well, I feel it. You know how loose a singer is by the way he's delivering that word, that sentence. There's something smiley about the way he's singing because he's loose.
That's right. And as a vocalist as well, you get to impart the communication and the syntax in your words.
Yes.
As a musician, we use notes and phrasing and volume and things like that, but you have the words to put the message across.
Yes.
So you are that vanguard of the musical piece.
Yes.
So you're there, you're doing all of this work, you've got your first gig for 4 weeks or whatever it was at the time. You've decided that singing could be an avenue of where you'd like to go.
Yeah, so this 4 weeks actually was well done.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite ahead.
Yeah.
Because it was one of the biggest entertainment people in England. Who I happened to be at a club up north, and I didn't realise they had one of their scouts in there.
Wow.
Yeah, it is because it was very, very big. To be picked to sing at a 5-star hotel in the middle of Malta. It's still there now. They have a new... I was in Malta just in December.
Yeah.
They have a new hotel as well. And, I mean, you know, you're beginning to feel you've got somewhere where you arrive at late, 2:30 in the morning at Malta, and there's a white Mercedes waiting to pick you up.
Wow.
It feels good.
Yeah, I bet.
It really does.
I bet. Well, you're the talent for what you were doing. So that was in Malta.
Yes,
so
but that's some years after what we're talking about.
Sure. But when you are when you're there and you're doing it, how did your career then? What was the next step in the journey? Because were you still working at the shop, or were you just earning money from singing?
No, that's a great question actually, because what really made the leap and was late in life for me, as I said to you, I really just, I'm talking about 30 odd years of age now.
Wow.
And I was working with this company, selling a wholesale company, selling ladies' dresses and things like that,
right?
Which I never sold in my life before, but I was apparently a good manager. The two partners really wanted sorting out, and I took them from 800,000 to 2 million in 11 months. So much so that they bought me and my wife a 10-day holiday in Italy.
Lovely.
And but I was singing even more now because we had this representative called Barry Fletcher, who is an actor, a tremendous guy to me, and he sort of mentored me into getting hold of an equity ticket, which you needed then to get on stage, television.
Yeah.
So I was now out there having to earn. Mm-hmm. So I had 3 jobs. One was singing on the clubs. One was I was a male model.
Wow.
For a lady based in Five Ways, Louise Dyson. She became Louise Dyson International. And so I answered an advert. And it was rather funny because we were going through, she liked me, and, I dressed very smartly, obviously.
Yeah.
And so she took me on, and we were going through the rate card. Is it okay if I tell you?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
So I'm reading down the rate card, and it mentions topless.
Right.
Earns an extra £30. I said, Louise, I don't mind taking my shirt off, for that extra 30.
Yeah.
Anyway, she was wonderful to me. She gave me a lot of parts. And most of the time, I worked for catalogs, actually filming winter scenes in the summer and summer scenes in the winter, being an architect somewhere, adverts on television, and so on and so forth. And then I took on a second job, which was double glazing.
Sure.
I was very, very successful at double glazing and earned me a lot of money because you're being welcomed, hopefully, into somebody's house as a stranger. They don't know you. And one of the worst rogues, and when double glazing really first started to catch on, was the double glazing salesman.
Sure.
You can't do that. So my price was the price.
Yeah.
I gave them the lowest price that I possibly could first time round.
Yeah.
And told them the only way I could ever give them any more would be take 2.5% of my commission. But I had nowhere else to go then. And
sure.
They know that that's right because the other salesmen have given them 5 prices on the way down.
Yeah, of course.
And I became very successful. And that's when Las Vegas came up.
Wow. And that is going to be the story for episode 2.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, because that earned me money because you didn't get paid from double glazing for about 11, 12, 14 weeks sometimes.
Sure.
Because it had to be measured and fitted. People had to be satisfied. They have to pay their money before you get your commission.
Sure.
So money was coming into the house while I was away.
Okay. Now, just before we finish episode 1 today, Barry, I fully understand this, but can we go back ever so slightly? Because you briefly hinted at your wife.
Yes.
How did you meet your wife, and what was her input into your career and the support that she gave you in your singing?
Without her support, I wouldn't have got anywhere. It's
okay.
Really typical, isn't it, really? She has to be behind you.
Yep.
I was 20-ish, and as I said, we were doing these amateur shows.
Sure.
In the Jewish community and that. She was one of the young ladies. And we had a bit of a tough guy. Don't forget, these shows were all put on. There was no pay. Everybody volunteered, sure. Including the director. And he was a big guy, a bit rough. And my wife was on stage. And he pushed her. Well, you can't do that.
No, you can't.
No, not if there's fellas around.
Sure.
So I went across, and I don't swear.
No.
And I still don't swear. And so I mentioned something like, "I'll knock you off the stage if you do that again."
Yep.
And
words to that effect.
Words to that effect.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I walked her home to her bus. 2 years later, we were married.
Wow. Wow. And then did you have a house locally? Where did you set up after you were married there?
We set up actually after we were married in Coventry.
Okay.
Because when I came out of the forces, I got a job with friends of my sister at a pram shop in Coventry. And I did very, very well there until the time came for me. We were driving home from Birmingham New Year's morning after a lovely dinner dance, driving down the Coventry Road, and they were building a precinct in Coventry Road by the Wheat Sheaf, and there was this lovely long shop with no windows, just wall and brickwork. And I said to her, "I'm going to get that shop."
Right.
And that's the shop I was in for 8 or 10 years.
Wow.
I even fitted my own doors to it. And we sold prams and toys, and was one of the biggest toy and pram suppliers, retailers in Birmingham.
Wow.
In fact, actually, we did something nobody's ever done before. I started advertising that if you order a pram from me and you name the day the baby is born, you will get the pram free.
Wow.
It went on television.
Did it?
Yeah. Got
Wow.
coverage on television. It went into the press. And funny things happened, like the ladies would tell me, and the mums and the grandmas, because became involved then, which was a big thing for us. We used to sell children's wear as well. But I heard stories that, don't bring me on yet. Will you wait? Will you wait an hour or two? Because I can get a free pram.
That's right. Just wait for the clock to turn over.
Yeah, honestly.
Wow. Okay. And just before we finish here, the last little bit that I want to pick up on is something that you hinted at. You were in the forces.
Yes.
So which trade, which branch?
I was in the RAF for 2 years, National Service.
National Service, yeah.
I served most of the time in Northern Ireland. I was in radar.
Okay.
So I was very, very lucky. It was based on the coast because we were picking up... Each radar station passes on its traffic once it goes out of their immediate area to the next allotted
That's right.
chain.
The next repeater station, yeah.
And I was there for 20 months and played a lot of football and a lot of cricket. In fact, actually, I represented the RAF at football.
Wow.
And we were right by the side of a beach. We used to play football at 7 o'clock in the morning on the beach. And I was very lucky because there were a couple of internationals, and one of them called Eric Rayburn. It's amazing how these names come back. But I played on the right side of the field. He played on the left. He was a Scottish B international. He liked my play, so he brought me across, and he taught me how to. He would only let me kick with the left foot. So I ended up being a left and right-footed player. And then also I played a lot of cricket. And we were the first, again, I represented the RAF in what's called the Down Cup, probably still going now. And we were the first non-Irish team ever to win the Down Cup.
Wow.
And I was an opening bowler, so I used to like batting as well.
Medium fast?
I was quick.
You're quick, fast bowler?
Yeah, I was. And I'm still, even though the club... that I was in at the time is no longer, I'm still their highest wicket taker ever.
Brilliant stuff. Okay, well, listen, if you've enjoyed listening to the first opening section of Barry's story, and you've probably seen him here in Touchwood, just outside Touchwood, central Solihull, did you understand or have an inkling of that as a possible beginning of a life story? If you would like to listen to episode 2, where are we going to take episode 2, Barry?
I think we've got to go towards Las Vegas.
We've got to go to Vegas, and we've got to go stateside,
yeah.
and we've got to see where your career took a turn and a journey across the water.
Very interesting part of my life.
Excellent. Well, listen, if that's not an amazing advert for episode 2, I don't know what is. Thank you for listening to episode 1, and we'll see you again very soon.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for listening.
Of the meadowlark, moonlight in Vermont. Take that moonlight in Vermont.